All right. Let's see what we got going on here. We are working on the ProLUG automation course tonight. Figured I'd try to get a little of this knocked out. Man, the thing can't spell ProLUG right, but that's fine. We're gonna. How's it going, Trevor? Over on the YouTube side, we are. Yeah, I'm putting this together. I actually map a bunch more of it out, but now I'm gonna start putting the individual task mappings down to the things that we're doing, and I'll start kind of throwing in some of the ideas that I have in my little notes over here on the right. I have the syllabus most of the way done, but I'm gonna have to map some of it back as we go, so that's varying degrees of fun for people to watch, I imagine. But anyway, so we're gonna do that, and then we might do a little bit more. I have this presentation pretty well put together that's going on behind here for all the werewolf stuff, but I'm not going to officially do that presentation for I think until this weekend. I don't know exactly where I put it. Let's see. In the Discord, I think I put it this Saturday. Yep. So we're going to do werewolf in the supercomputing environment, and I will talk through the concepts of that. Some of you guys probably saw me putting some of that together, just kind of organizing that. So we're going to be putting that together. We also have Bash Study Group at 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. So you can make that work, whether you're early or a late person, depending on where you are on planet Earth, right? So you could come to one of those. And then we're doing our Sunday night lab maintenance, which that's just kind of us working on that. And that's going to also flow right into, this one's going to be interesting because this is right around the time I have to turn in my final project for essentially the last course I have in my dissertation, or in my PhD. I really just am writing now. That's where I've been for a while anyways. But that's going to coincide with a turn-in that I have, but I'll have that already done by then, so it's not really that big of a deal. Professional pen tester coming on August 30th. And then, that should be a good time. If you guys have never heard somebody talk about the OSCP or the GPen certifications, you can hear about those. And he can tell you a little bit about how we met and then that kind of stuff. So that might be kind of fun for some of you. And then security engineering course round 2 is going to start on the 20th of September. So that's the security engineering course for people that missed that the first time and want to get in on that one. That course is free, and it's found right there. All right. So hopefully nobody's lost on that. ProLUG 101, Linux automation for the enterprise. Course addresses how to automate Linux in a corporate environment. This course will focus on taking design, build, administrative, and corrective tasks and turning them into automative tasks. Okay. Yep, I think that's fair. All right, I'm yawning over here, guys. Should be about 160 hours. Fair amount more lab than theory. I think that's always a good application. That'll be good. I have organized these kind of into at least the high-level things that I want. And there may be more. You don't have to have course objectives mapped one-to-one to the weeks. But sometimes one of them is like, number 1 course objective may go the whole course. You never know. But I try to get about the same number as we have weeks. So these may scale out, or some of them might happen at the same time. How's it going, Revisualize? I'm doing good. And LAN 1, hopefully this is useful to you. All right. So anyways, where were we at? Up here, what are the major instructional areas? We'll talk about the automation tools that are out there. That's going to be, for the course, mostly Bash, Python, and Ansible. There are, innumerable amount of other things we could talk about with automation tools, right? We could spend time on Terraform. We could spend time on CloudFront. We could spend time on all the Azure tools, but that's just not going to be in the stuff for us. And since we're a Linux group, we're focusing on the Linux side of the configurations. I may have us do a little bit with Packer. I'm not 100% sure. Packer will probably be when we're talking about CI/CD pipelines. Um, and I think Packer would be a nice little one to use for that. Maybe we'll do that. And if we do, that'll probably be down in the automation devices. So anyways, automation mindset. What is the systems engineering focus, and where are we looking at it? How do we focus on using it for continuous integration and continuous deployment, and then automation and automation around operations and administration. So these are three different distinct areas that there are a lot of overlaps in ways that they blend together, but these are kind of the ways that I focus the different automations that I do. Okay. Not that I sit there and think, okay, I'm doing systems engineering focus. I'm just saying, when we're breaking it down for people to learn it, these are the high level, kind of areas that I would be thinking about it. Shanya, how's it going over on the YouTube side? We are not working too hard tonight. We are just going through, cleaning up the automation stuff, probably getting down in a little bit of Linux if people have any questions specifically about that kind of stuff. But otherwise, just kind of hanging out. The wife went to watch Titanic tonight, so I remember that movie. That was not one of my that was not one of my favorite movies when I was a kid. I remember just not even kind of liking that one. But either way, neither here nor there. System building, some standardization. What does it mean to pre-bake versus personalization after the build? And why would you use these? And we'll talk a little bit about that. Then we'll do updating systems and patch management, which is very important. Software and package deployment, which is slightly different from that as well, but it helps to keep everything in line and configured properly. Networking configurations, and then system checking and reporting. We might do... Let's think about this. There may be some other... Yeah, I'll probably be adding instructional areas, but those are high level for now. Course objectives: deploy various automation tools for engineering and operational activities. Good. Retrieve information from API calls to facilitate automation. Right, you got to go check something every morning. Make sure it's good before you continue other things. Make sure that there's no drift in what you have for, especially with inventories, So API calls out to satellite to make sure that servers haven't been added or removed without you knowing. And then if they have been, are they in the right server groups and inventory things that they should have? And then inventories are great, but we also need to have environmental variables typically tagged to systems. If we have environmental variables tagged to systems, how do we use them in our automation activities, right? So these are all things that kind of build on each other. Describe the activities of that automation mindset that we've been talking about. Probably should capitalize that. I'm going to capitalize the automation. So what do I mean by that, and kind of what is that? How does that work into everything? Trying to find everything that you do manually and automate it, right? That's an important thing. Then we'll map where automation works within CI/CD frameworks. And I might say map where automation with it. Yeah, deploy and configure Linux systems with automated tools. Sure, that goes back to this one, which is a systems engineering focus. Automate and update Linux to resolve security vulnerabilities. Sure. Configuring networking devices with automation tools, that's important. And then maintaining system configuration and remediating drift via automation. So that's kind of one of those operational type tasks. So that hits a lot of those things, going back, kind of mapping back and forth between these things, right? So knowing this, these are the kind of things that we're going to do. I kind of need to try to think of the best way to do this. I might just pull all these real quick. Oh, and Notepad's not open. Yep. There we go. We might just want these up here for a minute, over off to the side, because when we go down to the bottom and we start kind of etching out where the weeks are going to go. we should at least have that. All right, so learning materials, you can go in Killer Coda. Running a bunch of Killer Coda. Yeah, so you use Killer Coda. You can have your local VM server running Rocky, RHEL, or Fedora, and minimal resources is 2 nodes. 2 nodes minimum, and then access to the auto instances. Yeah. Maybe that looks fine. Auto 1 through 5 servers. Minimal resource can accomplish this task. Good. Okay. I think these guys have 2. They're already set up. All right. We have to fix this. This is not the right drawing anymore. So we'll fix that. Course plan. Course is designed to promote learner-centered activities. Some of you guys have seen that before. Okay, we're going to go with the explore, practice, apply, acquisition method for how we learn things, right? And then the class will effectively engage 100 to 200 learners. We've got a bunch of people said that they're coming, so we're going to trust that those people are actually interested in doing this, and we're going to go with that. And then here's what we kind of need this stuff over on the right for here. So let me move this over for 1 second. Practice, apply. Okay. And let's just start with automation tools. We won't set a date for these because we don't know exactly when they're coming yet. Let's make 2 all about the automation mindset. That's fine. We can break these out later again, but at least we will have kind of the high level parts of these. This next one is going to be automation tool, automation mindset. Again, we're going to be touching the tools the entire time, so the subtasks and those kind of things aren't going to necessarily be here, but we will be practicing the labs and stuff throughout. So these are just like the high level topics, right? So let's say the next one will be focused on inventory maintenance. And then we'll do API interactions. And the order there is slightly different than the order here, so one or the other could give, but it doesn't really matter to the big scheme of things. So we'll leave it as it is, because I'd like to talk about inventories before I hit APIs. Variables. Let's just say variable usage. That's fine. Variable usage for that. And then let's say deploying packages. So we'll call that software and package deployments. Evo on site, how's it going? Software package deployments will be good. And then we'll do systems and that's going to be so much more than just normal patching. We'll also probably set some probably like clean up and get ready for patching by ensuring that certain pre-checks have been made and those kind of things. So that's going to be there. Ekshunya, we will probably start this course around the same time as the security engineering course. So I am soft committing right now to starting this course on September 20th. that's about a month from now, right? So we've got the security engineering course is coming up, and some people might say, oh, well, now you've got 2 courses running. Well, yeah, but I mean, people that have been around already would have done the security engineering course, I think, if they wanted to. The Linux sysadmin course, which is the absolute beginner course, we won't be restarting probably until maybe January. We didn't have a lot of people do it this time, so we had a lot of people show up, but only I think we're at like 6 that have finished it, so it's a pretty small amount. So we'll do that. Anyways, Sleazy, the slacker sloth. That's funny. Hi there. New question. What is ProLUG? I'm learning Haskell at the moment. Is it related? No. ProLUG is the Professional Linux Users Group. So we are just a group of about 4,100-ish people that like to do Linux professionally. What sets us a little apart from the hobbyists is that, and we're all hobbyists, by the way. Let me just clarify that up front. All of us do Linux for fun, right? I mean, I got Linux running all over in the background for fun right now, right? I got all kinds of stuff going on. But that being said, we do it professionally, or we try to get people doing it professionally. So whereas like I am sitting in my home lab with approximately 80 servers running, I'm maintaining out in the world probably somewhere close to 15,000 Linux servers that I build, maintain, patch cycle, all kinds of things for different customers. Yeah. Sleazy in my home lab. Yeah. I have a whole bunch of them. But they're all virtual. Well, there's 4 physical machines. I use a tool for virtualization called XCP-ng. It's a little bright. I know it's going to be bright. My system rebooted earlier today, but here's my different servers with the different servers underneath them. And then for people that haven't been around, we can connect into those remotely. Anybody that has the access to the outside lab, you get it through the Discord. You can go into any of those servers and do work on them, right? That's what the course is about. So, yeah. So anyway, so I'm putting together right now the Linux automation course, all the pieces of it. And let's go networking. So configuring and interacting with network devices. We will system checkout and reporting may go. We may move that. That's fine. And then let's go with, I think those are all the ones I have here, right? No, I guess we can go with Docker. I hate when that does that. I gotta fix it all the way up because it's gonna bug me. I wish I had seen it while it was happening before. There we go. So system checkout and reporting, and then let's go with maybe we might do some Docker build pipeline stuff because that is important, and we may use like Packer and some other tools for that. Let's do how might we do automation around these topics, because all of our tools can touch all of those, right? Like our Python and our Ansible can deploy all of that stuff. Julius Caesar said, "Is this the advanced Linux course?" No, this is automation course. So we're doing automation next. We are not. I don't really have one planned for advanced Linux, I guess, because I think all advanced Linux is really just basic Linux, right? I think it's just doing simple stuff well. At least that's what my career's been based on, in that sense. So, Golkis, how's it going over on the Twitch side? I am mapping some stuff back right now and getting some stuff the way I want. I need to probably do one around let's do see, I don't want to do any that are up in the cloud. Like, we could do some stuff where we like build AMIs or something, but I don't want to force anybody to have to put I don't want people doing any of that stuff. Sleazy said, can a rogue coder still get paid to work nowadays, or is it automated away like being said all over the internet? I don't see the Linux stuff that I do and I show people how to do going away anytime soon. Because you need to look at the stuff and figure it out, and I don't think like LLMs are quite there like people want them to be. I just don't think they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna get. I don't think they're gonna be there anytime soon. At least, maybe I'm overly negative. Maybe I don't play with that stuff as much as I should, but I just don't see it going there. I don't see it going as far. Yeah, I think this is I think this is a good start. Yeah. Like, I mean, the stuff I do where, like I've got a running system that has, petabytes and petabytes of data on it, and it is thrown all over the place in a bunch of OSTs, which are object storage targets inside of Lustre, right? And then, all this data is strewn all over in the environment, and then we need to scrub that data older than a certain amount of time. And you say, well, that's pretty easy. There's tools for that. And I say, yes, it is. But then it's like, well, okay, then, so there's that, but then we also have to take into consideration if a user puts like a no scrub somewhere in the path name, we don't scrub that directory out. But then it's like, but then we have to have a hard time. So it's like there's all these things that like, it's almost like the logical constraints is that you keep adding, and then I just don't see things taking over for that for quite some time. So I think some other things here that we might want. These are the things that I tend to use these tools for. Docker build pipelines. Let's do security. How do we want to say that? I guess we could do. I was going to say automating security, but that's not really the way I'd want to put that. I'm going to have to think about how we're going to fill out these last ones, because I mean, obviously I could just throw a bunch of busy work at you. I mean, there's plenty of things to do, right? I mean, we have so many modules in Ansible and so many things that we can do in Python even. But I want to direct it to exactly the things that I use it for, which are really the things there. I'd like to keep it at a 16-week course, because then there's a lot of time for working on the topics and the discussions and stuff, because the discussions tend to be where you guys really work together and figure stuff out about systems and how they work and all that kind of stuff. So GPU deployment, yeah, but we don't really have the environment for it. So it's kind of a push there. Yeah, Slurm is good. Yeah, that stuff's all good. That's not quite in our automation wheelhouse, though. I think of some other things we might have here. Let's go look in. We'll go phone a friend here. What are some other things in Ansible? Let's go see some things over here that might be things that they mention. And you gotta remember too, it's not just an Ansible course. It's Python and Bash as well in places that we can make them work with the other things that we're kind of doing. Let's we might have to move all this around if I go this route, right? To modify this. I might have to move everything if I go this route. But this would be user. You know what? That's another one too. So user and user. Let's say user and pseudo deployments, but I'll come up with a better term for that because pseudo deployments are user permissions. So maybe user and permission deployments might be a better way to put that. And then these will all become 10, 11, although I have a feeling I'm going to change this again here in a second. Because I just thought of another one, software and patch. So right at this one, let's insert rows above, and this will be deploying security. Let's say security. Let's say it this way. $14, $15, $16. There we go. And then these weeks might still exist, even though they're not part of it. And we might say, because we're going to do projects. Always. But they won't be part of the actual course, right? That's getting there. Yeah, we'll do user and permission. Do user and permission configurations. Let's do key and certificate deployments. How's that? There we go. That's good enough for now. Then 15, 16, maybe we'll do troubleshooting pipelines or something like that. D Tonice said, I might have answered this already. Will the automation course be the same level of difficulty as security engineer? I think it'll be similar. Do you recommend that we complete the security engineer? No, I don't think you need to complete it. You can do them together if you wanted to. Yeah, certain key madness is what we called it on the other one. Yeah. Let's do. This is kind of a cop out, but I will fix these because I can do some broken things and we could troubleshoot, right? And then that'll be a good thing to add as a major instructional area. Oh, that is not what I wanted to do. Troubleshooting. Troubleshooting, because troubleshooting is always important, and course objective for that can be which, you know, guys, most most troubleshooting starts with just reading the document and reading the error, right? But yeah, it'll be there. Let it be filled based on feedback. Keep 1 or 2 weeks for people who remain to decide. I think that, yeah, actually, so actually, I always like that idea, like what you just said, where that what these would be is almost like, I don't know if any of you guys ever did any college, like I never know where anybody's at, but let's just say like a survey course, if any of you have ever taken a survey. In a survey course, it's like, all right, the topic is system security, but you can go study whatever you want on system security. And I always kind of felt like survey courses, which typically are like 400 or 600 level courses, they tend to be like, hey, you're teaching yourself for the quarter, but you know, it's just it's like a self-study. It's almost like a cop out, if you ask me, for professors. But yeah, so that might be what we do with these ones, but we'll troubleshoot scenarios that we've done. I may even break some stuff so that we can go do some troubleshooting. But there is a lot of troubleshooting tools that I think people will want to do and get into it and work through that stuff. So I think that'll be a good way to kind of do that. So that is roughly our 18 weeks then, or our 16 weeks of the actual course, and then we'll do the last 2 will be optional for people that want to present. And that'll give people time to finish up. One thing for you guys that have been in my, right, the courses are free, right? The courses never cost anybody anything, never charge anybody anything for these courses. But here's the one thing that is a non-negotiable if you want to get the cool little certificate at the end. You have to do the discussions. You have to. People are like, Scott's just a meanie. Scott just wants to make us do. Honestly, guys, I could care less. Right? You say, don't you mean you couldn't care less? No, I could care less, and I don't care to care less. No. what I'm saying is I get the trick everybody always wants there, but you're not getting it with me. My point is, starting with all this stuff, is when you sit down and you, like when you solidify your thoughts, when you write your thoughts at the end of an activity, like if you've ever went and had a soccer game or you went and played basketball or something, and then you wrote down how you did and what you did well and what you did poorly. And guys, like maybe you lost all your basketball games, right? But basketball's a team sport, so it probably wasn't all your fault. Maybe it is, maybe you're terrible. But the point is, maybe you write down, hey, you know what? I thought I had like 5 good passes that game. I mean, we didn't win, but like I felt like I did pretty good. I got the ball to where it needed to go, and we scored, and it was just a pickup game. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that you only focus on good things. I'm saying it's that you can like solidify what went well. I have this template that I kind of used to use where it's like, what did you already know from the course before you got to the session? What's new, and how are you going to apply it? And if you think of things in that context, you're like, Scott didn't give me anything new here that I didn't know. Hey, guys, that is a fair criticism. In fact, it's not even a criticism. It's just true, right? Like, Scott didn't show me anything new today. Cool. But what he did talk about is this other way of applying it that I hadn't seen, and I thought that was kind of cool. And where would I use it? Well, I would probably actually modify this other script that somebody did. You might not have learned anything from me, but you saw it applied in a different way, and you're like, oh, that is kind of a cool way to do that. That's kind of a cool little trick. Anyway, so, and I tell you guys, when I used to sit in college classes, I'd sometimes sit in college classes that were so dry that I'd be like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe, and people would be asking these basic questions that it's like, if you had just read your chapter like you were supposed to, you wouldn't be asking these stupid questions. Journaling combats emotional bias. Correct. I think that's a really good way to put it. I had never heard it like that. I'm gonna call you sloth. I don't want to call you sleazy. I like that way of putting it. Journaling combats emotional bias. Yeah, because in the moment you're doing. So I have a buddy. So I have so some of you guys know I'm pretty involved with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Been doing it for 22 years now, almost 23, and I'm pretty involved with it. I travel and train, and one of my buddies runs a gym up in Colorado Springs. Has a few hundred people that go there, and pretty good sized gym. And they're very competitive. They do competitions all over the world. In fact, him and his wife are going in like a week and a half. They're going to be in Thailand. She's fighting for one of these pro, MMA. She's 4-0 in amateur and 1-0 in pro now. And she's black belt, and she's got like national titles and stuff in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Anyways, where I'm going with that is, it does not matter if you beat everybody in the tournament or you lose. If you beat 7 of the best people in the world in like a black belt tournament with my buddy Ben, you are still doing a write-up for everybody to see. For like, he's got these topics. It's like, how was your train up? How was your warm up that day? How did you feel during the matches? What was the good or bad outcomes? And then what are you going to do to fix it? Like those 5 kind of like points, you have to do it. And you say, I just beat everybody in the world. If you want to be under him, if you want to be one of his students still, you're going to fill that shit out and send it to everybody. We've got like a group chat that we do it. But it's really good. I think it's a really good method, because even the guys that always win, they keep winning because they keep fixing stuff, even though they thought, and they could just write, I beat everybody on planet Earth. I'm the best in my bracket. Well, but that wouldn't fly with him. He'd be like, no, do it again. So it's actually really funny. But he's a pretty no nonsense guy. He's come and talked to our group a few times. He's all but dissertation on his PhD in economics right now too. So he's come and talked to you guys a few times and that kind of stuff. Yeah, and Chinga, I've told you before, like with me, I'll do labs and stuff, and we'll have 30 people in a room full of people doing labs or something, and I'll be the first one done. And I'm that's like a point of like pride for me. But I guarantee you I didn't learn a damn thing in that lab. But when I go back through the lab and I reflect and like walk through the points of what I did and how I fixed certain things and whatever, that's when I learned things. But like being the first one done, because I blow through labs as fast as I can. It's almost like funny. And it's like it is actually like a little thing for me. Like I'm literally like 1 or 2 done in a room full of 30 engineers. But I didn't learn a damn thing. Like I can honestly say I didn't learn a single thing. All I did was type in the commands as fast as I could turn the paper. Like in the old lab environments where you'd have like 80-page pamphlets and big books and stuff. But then once I go back and reflect and look at the stuff, I'm like, oh, that's what I was doing. Okay. So maybe that even takes me more time to absorb than if I just did it slow the first time. I don't know. It's just always been my method. So. Yeah, Chinga, you said you felt the weight about your degree blasted through, and now look at some old notes and can't make heads or tails. Yeah, and some people are just checking boxes, right? Like I tell people all the time, I think this is one of the last great bastions where I don't think you need to, like I don't think you need a degree, right? Like, I mean, if we sit around and talk about degrees, I got degrees all day. I've been teaching for 17 years, like this and this, like, but I don't think the degree really affects me on a day-to-day basis. Like, I mean, I probably have more application of maybe wisdom and patience than I would if I didn't have go through the degree process, right? But maybe a lot of that's also just from like dealing with college students for a long time as well. Anyways, where I'm going with that is I don't think the degree makes the person, although it sometimes it informs you in certain good ways, right? I mean, it's a good process. Bottleneck, how's it going? We are just hanging out, and for people that haven't been around, typically what I do is I release this within about 2 weeks of the course. So I'll get this cleaned up, right? And this will be our syllabus. This will be the things that I'm guaranteeing you guys that we'll talk about and that we will walk through and do. These are, I always tell people the course objectives are like my contract to you. These are the things that at the end of the course you should be able to look back and go, Scott did talk about deploying various automation tools in engineering for engineering and operations activities. He sure did. Yep. I don't like the guy, but he sure did that. Oh, he made me do a discussion post, 2 posts a week, and I sure didn't like that. But damn if he didn't teach me about this thing. And these are the things that I think you could reasonably put on a resume too. If you've got a 1-page resume and you're going for a job that's heavily talking about troubleshooting, you go grab this, troubleshooting and tracking down errors in automation on deployments of Linux systems in whatever that environment that they're doing is, right? So, oh, that's funny about degrees. Yeah. I think teaching does also help reinforce the learnings as well. I'm a big fan. I think I've learned more. And I early on in my career, I thought, hey, I'm going to have to be in a classroom, so I might as well be at the front of the classroom getting paid for it. And I get free books. That's one of my favorite things about college. So to the effect then of this, you guys will see over on the right, we've got my Linux automation course outline. And when I did this last time, I kind of did it like this. So, man, I cannot stand. If Excalidraw could get one thing right, it would be to get this fucking thing out of your way. Every time you click and it comes, and when you go to do something, it comes. It's like, it's by far the most annoying feature I've ever seen in their tool. But let's do this real quick. Let's call that unit 2, although we're going to have to change it down the board. And then what I had kind of done is I had done these in blocks together all the way down the page, right? So I had done like unit 1 and 2, and then this would be 3 and 4, and 5 and 6. Don't worry, we'll fix the numbering later. 7 and 8. Then now we got a whole block of them. Oh, damn it. That's a fucking hassle. Jeez. Maybe we put them... Yeah, we'll put them down here. Fuck it. And then what I did was I started lining them up as unit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't even remember. I think I went... I don't know. It doesn't matter. I can put them out to the right, too. It doesn't really matter how we do it. But then we started to plan out the individual components using this explore, practice, apply type methodology, right? And then explore will be like what we're going to study and what we're going to read about and what our discussions are on. And then there'll be the practice, which is the labs and the hands-on and that kind of stuff. And then the apply will also be part of the probably discussion, but it'll be more like the reflection part or the reflection questions after, or what I sometimes call reflection or digging deeper. I sometimes use those terms interchangeably, but it just kind of keeps going. Agalord, how's it going? Hopefully this stuff's useful to you. I always wonder, is that little O/ like a hand waving? I'm not sure exactly, like, because I know we use F for like the stream dying, but I always wonder if that O is like a person with their hand up, like waving. I'm probably not super hip with the times, which is funny because I was an early adopter of cell phones and pagers, so I would, well, maybe not pagers, but I was a middle of the world adopter to that, but because I was using pagers in the mid 90s, right? But I was just a teenager. All right. So we got all that. That's a good part of the automation course started. I will start to add these topics over here, I think, and that'll be good. But let's go look in the lab a little bit. Let's see what's going on in the lab environment. Do we got any kind of funny business going on in the lab here? So we'll go throw this over here. And if you guys got questions or anything, let me know. Let's go jump over here. Let's hit 1660. Let's just check uptime of all our servers real quick. These are all our lab boxes. 07's the salute. I like that. Yeah, I always wondered what the difference was. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. which is funny because like I grew up. I mean, I grew up in ASCII terminals on the internet, right? Like early '90s, but I just I hadn't. I feel like those ones are newer, so, but maybe they're not. Yeah, it's probably true, Chingo Pop. But they also have it like it pops up. I don't know. It's a frustration. Even if I have this all the way up, it'll still do. It's weird. Just it feels to me like, and this is just maybe me. I feel like I always want to touch right here. I don't know if it's just like where I put my cursor on the screen. I don't know if it's, but I feel like this thing always pops up in my way. I wonder if I can configure that. Can I make this thing pop up at the top? Because honestly, if I could make this thing pop up anywhere else, I probably wouldn't complain again. But maybe I'm just a complainer. I don't know. All right. Anyway, so all of our systems are up. All the home lab environment is doing the home lab environment stuff. Yeah, Agalord, they said that on the Twitch side too. Yeah, that's a salute. Yeah, I like that. But see, here's the thing. I was big in World of Warcraft 04 through like 08 or so. I got out in 08. Stopped playing Warcraft. World of Warcraft anyways, but I said 08, like 2008 computer. But I was pretty serious back in the day. Some of you guys know I was a Gladiator Warlock. So I was a Gladiator on 2 different teams. So I think Gladiators were top 5%, and I think Brutal Gladiators were top 2%. I was never top 2% on any of the battlegrounds. And it wasn't even battlegrounds, it was arenas. I was in the first 2 seasons of arenas. So pretty sure you can still look up the characters, but the name was Boraga. My brother still runs the character, Boraga, Boraga, like that. But yeah, that's my brother still runs that character. I think he still plays WoW too. One of my brothers that sometimes comes and talks to you guys. Sloth, do you like chess? Yeah, I played a lot of chess. Mostly played in the army. But I don't think in the last 20 years I've played but maybe 10 games of chess probably. I just never got super deep. I was gonna play with some of the guys at Lockheed for a while. We had a little chess club over at Lockheed Martin, but I never got into it with those guys. So yeah, I'd say I probably played about 10, which is funny. It's actually really funny. For my birthday many years ago, one of my friends gave me. I have like a $400 chess set. It's like a ridiculously nice chess set. Sits in my game room. I don't really ever use it. Don't even get it down. Yeah. Yeah. If you guys haven't seen, I got a game room we got a few hundred games in there, me and the wife, and her dad built some really nice shelves for it. It's in the Discord. Let's see. See if I have it right here. I hate their search function. I think their search function's so bad. This is one of my friends. This is one of our guys in the server. His board game. He's got even more than I do. And he's got a little son. Where's mine at? Mine's definitely in here somewhere. No game room, huh? This is yeah, so that's part of my chess set there. And then the pieces are somewhere else. But this is it looking pretty sparse when we first built it. But the wife built this all. It's all a bunch of pipes. Her and her dad did it. A bunch of pipes, and it's pretty good. We have a couple hundred games up there now. So yeah. This one, I have the pieces for this are ridiculously nice. I have a more recent version of this. Favorite games up here, for sure, Castle Panic. If you guys have never played Castle Panic, that's a game, big time fun game. Castle Panic. The wife and her family love Azul. That's a very very pretty game for people that like doing pretty things, and you're basically taking the stained glass that's fallen on the shop floor, and you're building these really nice, like, I think they're like Chilean or something, tile walls. They're really cool. And you build these little tile walls, and then there's points involved with it. And then, like, one of the most epic games I know of is Clank. So if you guys have never played Clank, but yeah, this is very sparse compared to where it is now. We like just had populated it here. So then Xenoshift is one of the hardest games I've ever played. You need 3 other people who are like really serious if you want to win that one. I think I have a newer version of this. Yeah. Look, and here were like the shelves. This was before she painted those. So that's fun. So this is actually the pets. Oh, this is off topic. Okay, I was gonna say we got a pets channel too. Oh, it's one of my buddies. This was our unit mug from our infantry unit. Anyways, I don't know where we're going with all that stuff, but let me get that out of the way. Point is, there's a Discord you guys can go hang out in. Just duct tape engineer stuff. Yeah, I do a lot of that too. So for people that haven't been around, in our environment, we have a bastion setup. Let me go show you guys this is what our home lab kind of looks like here. And I use this as a kind of introduction for people, where you can come in off the internet, admin and security groups. Actually, let me add one more of these as well. We also have automation. Right, so automation as well is available in the same thing. And then you come in and you hit our server, and then you go into our DMZ, and once you get dropped into a DMZ, then you get sent over into some of our nodes. So what that looks like for people is this right here, right? You want to go, I don't think I have too much else in here. Just Control-Shift-Art, I guess. Let's go with here. So we'll just hop in like we're going to this, right? And then let me go find my password for this. And once you jump in here, you get to choose, right? Automation, admin, security course, whatever courses you want to go into. And let's say we go into the security courses, we get sent to the hammer nodes. Those are the nodes back over here. And that's the hammer block range. And then you can do whatever security labs you want. And then when you're done, you just jump out of the environment and it sends you out. You hop back in, you go over to like the automation course, and then it drops you in automation. And that one has the Doom font for the message of the day. And then the last one, which is our Rocky environment where people do the Linux admin course, those ones are the dev servers, right? They're the big dev boxes. So that's where these boxes are just simple little Linux systems. They have all the lab environment for people to go pull the different stuff that's kind of going on, and all the different there's courses, guys. The courses are, well, they're free, but also you know, this is what the course looks like. Linux admin course. And then you just jump in and you go do the labs, right? So lab 1, you go in, you just start doing commands. learning about Linux. If you don't already know Linux, you start just practicing doing lab stuff right there. Like, what the heck's the date command do? And what does it mean to do like date plus %F? Like, what does that give me? And how does that compare with T? And how does that compare with if I wanted to throw that in a file, right? Yeah. Yeah, so these arts here, there's a guy that has a really nice site out on the web. I always show it to people. It's this Patter JK, and man, he just, I'll link it to you guys on Twitch and YouTube. This is one of my favorites, man, because this dude, you just say like, right, you just type in sloth, and they say, I want to test it all. And he'll show you all of his art. He must have changed his page because I swear this looks different, but here's all the types of message of the day that you might want. This one's obviously dev right here, but I tried to be cognizant of the width of the terminal for most people. That's why these aren't bigger, because I could have went, some of these, automation is a really long word, right? That could have been big. Yeah, this is one of my favorite. So if you just take that and throw that in your backlog or your bookmarks somewhere. But man, he's got so much, like literally any word you want, you just throw it up there. He's got a bunch of other cool stuff on his page too. He's got a text color fader, and I know he's got some color stuff that's good. I think he's also got, yeah, he's got an art gallery too. So if you just want other type of art as well. But yeah, for banner message of the days, this is good. I mean, look at that little small slant. That would be good on a professional system. I'd put that on a real system to say it's prod. Yeah. I love this, man. He generates like 140 different types. And I was telling the guys, like, some of these are over the top, man. Like sloth, I think that looks terrible. And I think that would look terrible if somebody came in like a light colored terminal as well. We're assuming a dark terminal, guys, but you can't assume. I mean, look, Linux engineers, people that live in a terminal, we're probably on a black terminal, right? But you can't guarantee that some manager happens to get a hold of shit somehow, and then you do something like this that looks cool, but then this looks like garbage in a different terminal. You know, it's very possible. Do I have Dark Reader on? Huh. I thought I had Dark Reader on, because normally this page is light mode. Normally this page defaults to light mode. Look at that one. AMC slider sloth. I wonder if that one just works. Hold on. I got to use this font, but I want to see. Oh, so only the S's do that. Snake Jazz. Yeah. Yes, and you. Sinister. What other letters? A slides. E and F kind of slide. M slides big time, so does N. S is big time. That's pretty funny. I think that's pretty good right there. But anyways, there's AMC slider. Baby Elite. I don't even know. I mean, look at all these. Look at all these, and then you could just jump all of them. There's one that's surprisingly really good that you would only know if you had used it, because I've used this one before. I really like the way Ogre looks. You might say, Ogre? Really? Yeah, Ogre for some reason actually looks surprisingly good. Where is he at? He's not here. I think he's up. Yeah, he's up here. I think he's categorized as some of these other ones. Here's Ogre. Ogre actually looks... I think that one looks pretty sharp. Yeah. And in like a general terminal setting, I think that one looks pretty good. So... Oh, also, it's different uppercase, right? You can also do... I don't think this one looks nearly as good. I like this one lowercase much more than uppercase. But, I mean, it's kind of a cool little project that somebody went and spent all this time putting these all together for you. And then you literally just copy it. There's just, there's like a copy right here. Boom. You just grab all of it. And it'll just be in your, drop it in a Vim or whatever you're doing. So yeah, we just use these simple ones and keep it compact. So if somebody's got their page only half open like me, we don't blow over the side of their terminal. So yeah, I like that one. I think that's a good one. Oh, Sleazy, he's got some other stuff you might like. I would play with that guy's page a little bit, because that guy has some really cool other ASCII art type stuff that might be nice. Yeah, and if you can generate stuff on the fly, that's even better. I looked up. I don't think he's got an API set, but I thought that would have been great to have a little API that just lets you hit them and pull them. I don't know if he has that built somewhere. I didn't find it on his page before, but that would be cool to just be able to pull, as part of a header, as part of a report or something like that. Have some things in like a larger font or something like that, and just use some of that ASCII art. That would be kind of cool, because that would be super easy to pull with an API call, right? Like, I mean, we don't have to be geniuses to figure that out. Just have it be part of our plays or our, Python requests or something. Just go grab the stuff we need. So, all right. What else we got? We just hit an hour, so we'll probably go take a break here in a little bit. Wander around, let people kind of absorb stuff. I should drop this in here for you guys on the Twitch side, because I don't think it's popped up, or if it hasn't popped up in that fashion. There's the Discord link, and then on the YouTube side, here's the Discord link as well. We have, I don't know, 4,100, almost 4,200 people in there now. Goal is to try to get over 10,000, but we're slowly marching towards that. Probably take us another couple of years to get there, because it's just been slowly growing over the last few years. We've been running this professional Linux users group for 11 years, and we've been on Discord for 6 of them. So I did Discord right before COVID started, because I had a couple of guys I knew up in Colorado that wanted to join the group. And cool, because we should make business cards. Yeah, we could. We need to go out to, I think we're going to all meet up in San Diego for Scale this year. Well, the people that can make it. And it won't be this year. It'll be March of next year, I think. So. Oh, yeah, you're going to that one in October. Nice. We should just do it as a QR code on a shirt or something. Then people will be like, what the heck's that QR code? And they'll take a picture of it. And you'd probably have to be holding it straight for the QR to work, but yeah. You guys want a quick little run through of what my presentation kind of looks like now? I need to clean up some of the art in it, but let's do that real quick. So this is what I've been working on. I was working on this yesterday a little bit, but this is so. I got to get rid of that. Hold on. I don't like that. I don't like that animation. Where's that animation? I don't like the animations that this thing built in. I like a lot of the other stuff, but I don't like the animation. All right. So this one's going to be how Werewolf fits into high performance and supercomputing environments, right? Yeah. So if you guys haven't played with Werewolf, this is a good one. And then the overview is like, what do we do around here? Why are we talking about Werewolf? Like, what's the purpose behind it? This is by the way, this is going to be a two. This talk will split. One way that this talk. What happened here? Hold on. There. And we need to switch. There we go. Because I still want you guys to be able to see me talking. How Werewolf fits into high performance and supercomputing environments, right? And then, so the overview is like the questions I want you asking as we do this stuff, right? So what do we do around here? Why are we talking about Werewolf? And this is going to split. So this will be us and ProLUG, but it'll also be me and my company Redline, right? Because I'm doing it as a brown bag for work. And then why are we talking about Werewolf? And that will also diverge a little bit, because in the ProLUG, we use it in our lab environment for how I maintain all the lab boxes in a stateless fashion. And then at work, I will be, in the work version of this, I will be calling out a bunch of our customers, like a bunch of the people that we've done this stuff with, and customers in the last year that I've deployed 15,000 systems on using Werewolf, right? And then what is a supercomputer or HPC system? I'll define it a little bit, talk to it a little bit. And then we'll get into like what does Werewolf do and how does it do it, right? So, and I kind of wanted to put how we use it, but I guess that's kind of implied in this. But anyways, so here we go. What do we do around here? At ProLUG, we teach people about Linux and Linux jobs, sometimes using HPC or supercomputers, right? Sometimes I use the examples that we're going to get into here around how we teach people Linux, right? And then sometimes at Redline, so at my company Redline, we build and maintain HPC and supercomputers for customers. That's what we do. That's what my business is, right? And then so when I get into and the one that I'm going to use for work, many new HP deployments are utilizing Werewolf, and then I'll put a bunch of customers in. And this is the why are we talking about Werewolf right now? Like, why is there a 1 hour brown bag at work about Werewolf, right? And so this one is, how do we build supercomputers, or alternatively, what are they? And they are generally comprised of the following components. They are big network-based systems that perform their duties as though they were one node. They have a bunch of helper nodes. So in the management zone, you've got nodes that help them behave like one big node. In the access zone, you have other nodes that I consider all these management nodes, but these are access zone nodes, and they are ones that help this system over here behave as one large computer. Then inside of the HPC zone over here, you've got your compute nodes, and they're doing all the processing. You've got your storage nodes that are, keeping track of data and runs and jobs and stuff, storage arrays, whatever. But this is the high level NIST definition that we tend to use for what a supercomputer is, right? You've got access devices. It's how users log in. This is our air gap portion of the network. Nothing ever talks in except through the login nodes, or if you come in through like a web portal node. Big technologies for web portal nodes are like Open On Demand, and Platform LSF, which is an IBM paid for one, also does some web portal stuff for people to be able to submit jobs. But typically login nodes, they're Linux boxes. They function as bastions a lot of the time, or sometimes we have bastions in front of the login nodes to protect them. And then you get to a login node, and then you can jump in and do all this stuff in the environment, right? Management devices, so you've got a scheduler. The schedulers deal with how jobs get loaded. So users come in on the login node, they schedule with some type of scheduling tool like a PBS Pro or Slurm or a Platform LSF or any of these different kind of big schedulers. Then you got your resource manager, which is dealing with what these resources are doing. And then we provision those servers, and then we do a bunch of cluster services with those, which are things like inventories and other stuff like that. In fact, I think it's on the next slide here. Nope, still here. All right. So then we get down here, and I say, what are some of the major problems with building and operating supercomputers nowadays, right? Like, so if you saw this and I told you this was 12,000 nodes, and you're like, well, that sounds like a problem, because where are we going to do? Slurm from Rick and Morty. I think Slurm is probably more of a Futurama thing, but it might be in Rick and Morty, but I don't know if I'd ever... But yeah. So what are some problems with supercomputers, right? There's modernization problems. Like, we use stateful nodes to build all of these nodes, but it's hard to keep those patched and updated, right? Yeah, because Slurm McKenzie was just wanting to die. He had partied too hard, right? But anyways, stateful nodes are hard to keep. We got to patch them. We got to update them. Patching downtime needs and becomes more difficult with thousands of nodes. Plus, you got to pull everything in and you got to test it. And it's a hassle, right? Patching nodes that are just stateful. Stateful nodes do not adhere to CI/CD best practices. What I mean by that is kind of this next part. Is if you build a bunch of servers in 2022, and then you've been doing changes to them, and 2 or 3 of those servers go down in 2025, and somebody dusts off the old build books, right, the original build books for these, and then comes and then builds them, and they come up as their original stuff from 2022, then you go, oh shoot, we have 3 years worth of changes to reapply to these boxes. Which, by the way, is one of the reasons I always advise, if you're going to update your run books, you need to put that stuff back into your build book so your system's built properly. But suffice it to say, that's hard to do. And that is a very difficult thing to replicate in redeployed nodes. So these are problems. Plus, yeah, stateful nodes are not part of a CI/CD. That's continuous integration and continuous deployment. What that means is, like, a CI/CD pipeline should mean that I can constantly rebuild and rerun code, or like I could have one of these nodes up here, like node 1 may not be part of my cluster, but his job might just be to get rebuilt every 4 hours to prove that jobs can, or that nodes can be rebuilt at any time according to my current process, and they are still adhering to the practices of the rest of the cluster, and that would be like a CI/CD pipeline around that one node. But I can tell you, most people don't do that. They don't adhere to those best practices. But Werewolf can kind of natively do that. And again, I'm not giving this presentation right now. I'm showing you. I'm giving you guys like a little taste of it. We're doing it on Saturday down in the Discord. This is the presentation that I'm getting ready for Saturday. So I got some more to add to it. But if anybody wants to come to that, those are free. Our talks are always free. I don't record the talks there. I will record this talk later, but not that one. So, yeah, look, I don't like that. Get out of here. I don't mind the werewolf part. I just don't want... All right, so how does Werewolf work as a cluster manager, right? Werewolf is like confused, and all these people don't know who's about to get mauled next. Yes, I amuse myself. So how does it work, right? Well, what Werewolf does when it comes into an environment is it just kind of takes over like the foreman. It says, hey, I'm going to run DHCP. I'm going to keep an inventory of everything. I'm going to provision servers from myself. Or I guess you can have them proxy off of other things and pull information from other places, but Werewolf wants to do that itself. It shares out NFS so that everything can be shared from it. It also can configure NFS for other locations as well, or Weka, or whatever other high performance compute stuff you want. It controls all the cluster keys, so you can rotate keys really easy, and it can control share users for the cluster, which is also something that's super easy then to maintain how users are deployed or added or whatever, right? So Werewolf just takes over everything. That's what it does. And Werewolf manages the entire environment. It does. Hector, how's it going? Thanks for the bits. Hopefully this stuff's useful to you. Werewolf does node definitions. It does customization for each node. It does all the DHCP. It can control IPMI connections for both power and console. IPMI is your IP management interface, and it's a way that we get into modern servers. Yeah, it'll do it even when it's not a full moon, yeah. It controls image repositories, so any images that you build and prepare for your servers to go into the nodes are there, right? And I have some demos of this, but also we can look this in our system. It does system overlays and runtime overlays, and you can even deploy different kernels than what are in the images if you need to deploy a new kernel in like real time and roll through your servers or something. So Werewolf does images, system overlays, runtime overlays, all these type of things. Hey Rob, how's it going? Raiding with a party of 26. I'll start back over real quick because I think it's fair if I get a raid that I start over. Go get some sleep, Rob. Yeah, I appreciate you bringing people by. I'm not actually giving this presentation. I'm just kind of giving a little taste of this. This presentation is actually going to be done for you guys on Saturday night. So here's the high level of what we're doing. How does Werewolf fit into high performance and supercomputing environments, right? And the overview is what do we do around here? This is going to be split based on if I'm talking to the ProLUG, which I will be on Sunday or Saturday, or if I'm talking to my company Redline when I go talk to them. Why are we talking about Werewolf? And it'll be different answers depending on who I'm talking to. And then we got into the supercomputing stuff, and then we were just touching the Werewolf stuff there. And then how does it do it, right? So ProLUG, we teach people about Linux and Linux jobs. Sometimes we use HPC or supercomputers to do it, right? Sometimes we use those same techniques like in my home lab that people can access. And the security and all those things are built around those topics. Then we come down here at Redline, my company, we build and maintain HPC and supercomputers for customers, right? So that's what we do. Down here, there's many new HPC deployments. So I'll list our customers on our internal one that we do. Obviously, I can't tell you guys all that stuff because that's proprietary or at least just not good. You know, it's not good practice to talk about that kind of stuff. So that'll be in the one that I split off for my work. And then for us, it'll be like, well, how do we build supercomputers, or alternatively, what are supercomputers? Well, supercomputers are defined in NIST Special Publication 800-223, and this is a pretty good reference model for the components that belong in there, right? There's an access zone, a management zone, a computing zone, and a data storage zone. But at the end of the day, it's like the access devices let you in. They act a lot of time as the air gap between everything over here is not connected to any network. that can speak out. Only the login, the data transfer, and the web portal nodes can do that, right? So we secure them, and then we it's almost like this becomes kind of like crystallized. This doesn't get changed. This gets, if you want to think of it as like flash frozen or updated less often. We have a air gap, so this environment can focus on stability and speed as opposed to patching every month. If any of you guys have done all that patching stuff, right? And then you're doing it all the time. So, yeah, Rob, thanks for coming by. Hopefully this stuff's useful to you. Definitely get some sleep though, man. I know you've been up. I came on earlier, and when I got up, you were already on. So I know you're like 3 hours ahead too. Shoot. Anyways, management devices, they're over here. They're scheduling jobs onto the nodes. They're provisioning the cluster. They're doing all these things. Compute nodes are doing the processing, and then storage nodes are storing everything and feeding data out to the network over, what we call parallel file systems typically. Lustre, GPFS, Weka. I don't know if we really consider, what's that new one that people are using? We're using it in one of my deployments. Oh, shoot, what the heck's the name of that company? There's another company that's like a player in this game right now, but they do small stuff too. But they're considered an AI company technically, but they do data. I'll think of that name if I can. But anyway, so what are some major problems with building and operating supercomputers, right? So that's going to be my next part of the talk. And I'm going to go into how stateful nodes are hard to keep updated. So I got 10,000 nodes right here that are compute image nodes, and I got to patch them all the time. And I got to make sure that like all 1,000 of them are at the same level. That's a nightmare. So with stateful nodes, and a stateful node is like a big fat node that goes down and comes back up, and he's the same node. He's the same configuration. But stateless nodes, which are the way Werewolf likes to do things, the node has no knowledge of who it is when it comes up. It reboots every time. Aglord over on YouTube, thanks for coming by. Yeah, I appreciate you stopping by. But stateful nodes do not adhere to CI/CD best practices because we're not pumping them out, and we're not able to rebuild them easily. Changes that happen over the course of years are not easily put back in from a build book to a run book type perspective. So there's all kinds of things here that just we need to get better, right? We need to make this stuff better. So that's a big part of it. And again, I'm not giving the talk right now. I'm just kind of giving you guys a high level of it. So how does Werewolf work as a cluster manager? We mentioned Werewolf, and here he is confused as you guys are. People here think they're about to get mauled by him. So what does Werewolf want to do, right? What do we use him for? Well, he takes over an environment. He runs DHCP, keeps an inventory of all your systems. He provisions servers via TFTP. He shares out NFS if you want him to. He controls cluster keys and users. He just controls everything. He's just kind of like a foreman of a job, just kind of doing everything, right? He manages the entire environment. Node definitions, DHCP settings, IPMI connections for power and console, so we can reset machines and we can go in and watch them like we were plugged into them without having to leave the Werewolf node or the Werewolf controller. That's awesome. He has image repositories, so we can download different images, and those images are out on the web, and then we can customize them, have them exactly like we like for our environment. And that's what we do in our environment. We have, what do we have? Rocky, Hammer, and automation boxes. Then there's system overlays that are deployed at the system's first build only, and then runtime overlays that run in real time, and the cluster can update itself on the fly. And then there's different kernels, but they're optional because you get kernels with the image repository. But if you ever needed to override a kernel for some security measure, you could do it, right? So there's all this modern stuff that can be quite simple and helpful. So if Werewolf controls all that, who controls Werewolf? I need to clean some of these up because some of these are really, really cursed images, right? But if Werewolf controls everything, who's controlling Werewolf? Well, we control Werewolf. That's the answer. Wait, it says right here, we do. So Werewolf has its own language we can interact with. So I like this one. This one's kind of cursed looking, but it's wwctl as like a prompt. And then we can use that to go into image configuration modes and nodes and overlays and power. And there's just all kinds of things that we can do with Werewolf control commands, wwctl or wwcuddle, as some people like to call it. And we can start to talk to the system. So over here, I said wwctl image list, and I got all the images in my home lab. And then I looked at all the node definitions in my home lab based on what image was deployed against each node. So auto 1 through 5 have these images, hammer 1 through 5 have these images, and then Rocky 1 through 5 have these images here. Then I said, well, what about all their IP addresses? What definition of IP addresses do you have? And it told me all those as well. So we can very programmatically go grab. Yeah, it's Soviet Russia, werewolf controls you. Yeah. So it's got language we can interact with. But here's the thing. That's only if we want to play ball, guys. We're modern, right? We're very this right here, when we control things by doing like WWCTL image build or WWCTL overlay edit or those kind of things, we are not being we are doing things in what we call an imperative way. We're giving commands, but we're not doing things in a declarative way, which is like repeatable and better, right? So we can actually directly interact with the YAML configs if we want to. I could come down here and look at the Etsy werewolf nodes.conf, and here's all the defaults that go into my node profiles, and I can configure these and change the default things that go into all the customization of my nodes right here. Or I can go individually to my nodes, and look, I could programmatically, I mean, once I have, this is all YAML, once I have this, I can make this into a template, and I can deploy as many of these things as I want directly down into the YAML file, as long as I know to restart werewolf, right? And then those definitions would exist, and werewolf would know about these nodes, right? Actually, you said Lambda Lab. I don't. Maybe. I mean, I can do Lambda if you're talking about like AWS Lambda stuff. I can do that, but it's not strictly Linux. But I mean, I can do that if you needed. Sloth, you said, how do I get my text to speech writer? This is just inside a PowerPoint, man. You just hit the closed captioning and it'll just pop up and start doing closed captioning. So, yeah. It is interesting that does go back to the cloud. So I know that that's running through one of my accounts, but I really don't care which one. But yeah, it's doing all my closed captioning for me. Yep. So then also, let's say we wanted to import and customize an image. So I mentioned that we can go pull images. We could go pull the Docker image for Rocky 9.3, pull that down into our local repository. So Docker image Rocky 9.3 will be there. Typically, you could just do like a Docker pull for that, right? And then you can build it with Podman or any other customization. Podman, or you can use tools like Packer. So Podman build some container file and tag it to some node or some name, right? And then you can Podman save whatever job scheduler or whatever you're using out to some tar, and then you can import that into Werewolf. So www.ctl container import whatever that name is, job scheduler tar, job scheduler 0518, whatever you want, and then you can save that in as a specific node, and then you can further configure them by direct container interaction by going in and execing into the container. You can run stigs against those containers, which is what I build often. Oh yeah, this thing doesn't know. When I say body of knowledge, it doesn't know. When I say coal kiss, it doesn't know. Coal kiss is one of our members, and it always thinks I'm talking about giving him a cold kiss on the forehead or something. Another one is when I say neck to ring. Like you need a neck to ring if you're going to be in a government contract and you're going to... Oh, there it is. That got it right. But it's W-R-I-N-G. But yeah, it always does nectar ring, like nectar of the gods. Anyways, and then you have your werewolf overlays. So we can import and customize things. We can build and define nodes. Look at all this stuff that Werewolf knows about Rocky 5 right here. It's got a bunch of default information about it. It's got all of the runtime and system overlays that are happening. It's just got all this information about this system, right? So it's got this node definition of how it's going to share out when a node comes up and asks for its information in the network. If it is 1E435AECD421, he's going to be assigned the value of Rocky 5 in my environment. Oh, you got the done English accent. Nice. I've been asked if I was from South Africa before, which I am not. Then we can build and customize overlays. So look at this. Here's that same Rocky 5 server real quick. Hold on. I've got something like biting me in the back or something. That's weird. And over here, look at this last little configuration here. It says Resources Etsy FS tab. So this was the same one from the last slide. And here's all these definitions of these FS tab entries. But then we can render from the Etsy FS tab overlay, and it'll build out this FS tab for our system with those configurations that are assigned right here. And if we remove those configurations by emptying it, we would no longer render for this Auto 5 server. I rendered this for the wrong server, but we'll just pretend they're the same. And it would give the configurations right there. And if I had more defined here, we would have more configured down here, right? Then I say, how does that look? Well, we list Rocky 5, and here's those defined variables. They go up into this overlay template, and look, it says right here, it says mounts local file system with all these, and then it says range in FS dev of file systems. So it's grabbing all the file systems right here, and it's parsing them out to generate this running configuration when it's mounted on an actual node. So it went from a definition of a node here to an overlay, and then in the actual built overlay and running system, we've got the mounted file systems from this definition. If we remove one of them, this will automatically remove it, and this would be on the next run one less than it is currently. Or more, if we wanted to add more NFS mount points that pointed to different things, all we have to do is define them in here. So it's really nice little way of doing things. All right, so how does Werewolf boot for nodes, right? So stuffs the images, system overlays, runtime overlays, and kernels into the servers. So a stateless node boots and queries DHCP. Werewolf identifies the server via media access control or MAC address and gives iPXE boot information. Server starts a minimal boot kernel and TFTPs over the kernel and init RAM FS. Server pulls system overlays and applies them. And server starts WW client and pulls runtime overlay every 10 minutes. Here's what this kind of looks like. Starts to boot. You can see right here, he does DHCP on the line. He gets a response back from 192.168.200.25, and it says, "Good for you, buddy. Here's your information. You are Auto 5. You are using Automation Rocky 9, and start downloading your kernel image from me right here." Right. It runs what's called a two-stage dracket. So it starts up, and then in memory, it does a switch over to the init RAM FS, and then it gets ready to start the kernel. And then down here, system overlays are applied. You see the different overlays coming up that are defined from the earlier definitions. And then it mounts everything to temp FS. Or you can actually use persistent disks if you really wanted to, but it doesn't have to. And then our review is, well, what do we do around here? And again, I'm not quite giving the talk right now, but just giving you guys a rundown of what it's going to kind of look like. What do we do around here? We build systems and teach people about them. Why are we talking about Werewolf? It's getting popular, and the guys that run Werewolf are the same guys that run Rocky Linux. So Rocky Linux, which is also increasing in popularity by CIQ, they're the same people. That's CIQ, yeah. And what is Supercomputer HPC system? It's a well-defined system that we use for research and high-performing system, high-processing parallel file system, everything, right? Everything's fast. How does what does Werewolf do? It controls everything. And then how does it do it? Then some of the concepts and workflows we walk through. So that's pretty good. And then questions if you had them. But yeah, that's kind of what that presentation is going to look like for all of that kind of stuff. All right. And then if you were on a Werewolf server, you would be able to see right. Here's all of these different component pieces that we can interact with and change, and then we can so there's a Werewolf SSH. I've never really used Werewolf Never used this command, but I wonder if I can use auto. If that'll work. Yeah, that works. So that'll hit all of our boxes like that. And I wonder if I can do. That hit all of them. Yeah, hit all of them. And then I should be able to hit hammer. That's typically how definitions in Werewolf work. So hammer, auto, and Rocky. So right there we would see all the nodes. Yeah, I like that. That's not the worst thing I've ever seen. So if we needed to see all the nodes were up and when they had last been rebooted or whatever, we could do that. That's not the worst thing ever. All right. Let's see what we got here. Terminalicious. Yeah. I mostly do. I tell you guys, I work all day in a terminal. That's all I do. All right. Let me pull up a couple of things. People are messaging me, but a couple of things before we go on break. Bash study group, Saturday. Late night bash study group, also Saturday. I'll have this Werewolf config. We'll actually do this talk. I give you guys like a quick version of it. We'll do this talk and talk about supercomputing and how Werewolf fits into it, which is kind of the same thing you just heard. It'll just be a little more organized. Probably have some more slides in there. I saw some needs to clean that up already, so I'll start working on that. We'll do lab maintenance on Sunday night like we always do. And then on Saturday, August 30th, we got a professional pen tester coming in, somebody who's been in the industry for a while doing that. And then we've got security engineering course round 2 coming up in September. So if you want to sign up for that, that's a free course, but it does take. You can ask people. I think we only had like 5 people finish it the first time out of like a few hundred that said they were coming. It's not easy, right? It's a time sink. A lot of time involved with that kind of stuff, but I think you can spend time and learn about it. It's a pen. Yeah, that's a pen. That is funny. All right, let me put up. Where's our? Fill this back up. Whoops. Pull this over here somewhere. Let's get out of there. We do need to. Oh, hold on. We got something to add here. It's interesting to me that as I was working on this, we need to go to our con board. And here's our operational stuff. And we need to, in our backlog here, update, reboot. Okay. So we need to update the reboot process for lab nodes. When people leave, even if they don't reboot like we ask them to, we need to make sure that they reboot themselves. So that's going to be something that we're gonna do. That is funny. Yep, definitely a pen. All right, I'm gonna throw a hourglass up. Hourglass will be set for, what do we want to do? Let's do 10 minutes. 10 minutes, walk around, stretch your legs. I won't start until we come back. So take a break and get a drink if you want. I'm gonna go grab a drink. I will be back. Take your time, and I'll leave Quartz in charge until I get back. All right. Oh, did it say quartz in charge? I meant quartz. Yeah. Who knew that that thing would pick up the nuance of the way I say quartz? All right. Got a drink. Got some cold pizza that I ate for lunch. What are we working on here? So, let's see. Oh, wow. I wonder if they're all done supporting it. Maybe they're all gone. Or maybe they just don't have that up anymore. See when this was last updated. That's what I wanted. Okay. One of the things we might do in the automation course is pull down all the tasks out of maybe the con board. That might be fun. Yes, we might leave that up as things we're working on. Yeah. All right. Still on break. You guys still got 3.5 minutes of break if you want it. Oh, why did they call it werewolf? I don't know, but it does have a WULF in it. It came after Beowulf, in case you guys were wondering. Beowulf was the original cluster manager. For this. All right. What else do we want to work on? We could start writing the frequently asked questions for the lab, because I know people have a lot of those. How you give your key, how you clean up your environment, how you reboot things when you're finished with them, and then what the acceptable use policy is. That could be, I mean, we could start working on that, or we could not do any of that stuff. We just hang out and not do any of that crap. It's too much work. Sounds too much like work, seems too much like work. Let's go check something from our maintenance here. Seven seconds, we're all done. Let's go. See how many of them have that running. Only our one test box. So if we wanted to add that, we could roll through. Let's do this real quick. From Werewolf, where we were doing this. Let's go auto 3 to 4. Just for fun. Rocky 3 to 5. And hammer 3 to 5. Right? And let's say, let's reboot them. Good, he's down. Okay. So they're all down. Over here we'll sleep. So we'll go 240. And we'll wait on that to come back up. We'll watch one of them boot. If you guys have never seen one of them boot, that's a good little... I think it's good to watch one. We'll go with auto 4. He's booting right now. Let's go watch him at the console, pull his information. And he'll pull it from Werewolf the way he needs to. Yep, here he goes booting. But all these images should have node exporter running on them when we're done. So you'll see the nodes that we just rebooted come back up with node exporter on them. And kind of in this fashion, the way we're doing this, we can roll through the lab nodes without ever taking lab capacity down for actual people. So if nobody's in any of our lab nodes right now, we can still reset them and they will come back up and nobody will ever know the difference. Nobody will ever know the difference. So over just a little bit so we could read chat. I need to figure out how to, I need to put something dark behind the chat so that it just kind of can be seen even with something like this behind it, you know? But we'll be fine for now. All right, booting up. Getting some deprecated warnings because I got old hardware, it's fine. But this will come through and hopefully we'll see all of the like 3 through 5 nodes. Pretty much all the 3 through 5 nodes should have node exporter running when they come back up. If I did my configuration right the other day, which I'm pretty sure I did. And then it's just a waiting game. I could do it faster, but might as well just let it take its time because all the nodes are going through the process right now of rebooting. Should be good. Also, 30 minutes ago, thanks for the follow, Johnny. Hopefully this stuff's useful to you. We're never working too hard around here, but we always are kind of driving towards our system engineering goals, right? This is good systems engineering, if you ask me. You should be able to build and work through things and Oh, excuse me. Here we go. It's going to come up. Yep, there it is. Then on the left, anytime this gets ready to go, those nodes, auto 4 for sure will be up. And we'll make sure the other ones come up. So, anybody here planning on coming to the security engineering or the automation course? Again, we're not going to do the Linux admin, the basic course again until probably January. But if people are interested in either of these other courses, they're going to be, I think, pretty good. I think they're good. I mean, I think security engineering one turned out really good. But now we're going to do the automation one, which is going to tie a lot of those two things together. As far as admin stuff that we do, engineering stuff that we do, security stuff, you know, how can we put this stuff all together as we deploy systems, you know? And that's what we do. Work on making that stuff better. Yeah. Oh, sorry guys, I'm yawning over here. We could have just kicked this Ansible off manually right after we saw this come up, but I'm okay. Oh, there we go. So 543 has it, 543 has it, and 435. Yep, so they all have it. So if we can go over here, we can say do just 2, right? And we could do 1. We could do 1 and 2. I think we get away. Let's see if we can get away with 1 and 2 right here. Cat. Just bang cat. So nobody's in auto 1. Somebody's in Rocky 1, but nobody's in Hammer 1 or 2. So I can't do, in good conscience, Rocky 1. We'll go 180 this time. I mean, I can cheat. I could technically cheat because Rocky 1 is a running server, so I could just jump over there and turn it on. You guys want to see that? I'll do that real quick while we're waiting. But before we do that, let's go grab the config file real quick. Here's our node exporter stuff. Oops. Boom. That's fine, I don't care about that. I cheated. It'll be there. So the one that would have been red still was Rocky 1, but I just put it on there manually. But in all future builds, it'll be coming from the original image, which will be updated. So all of our node exporters are about to be on for all of these systems. So we'll go do a couple other things while we're waiting. Let's go steal all this from ourselves because this is wonderful. Just steal all this. And jump over here. He can know about all that stuff. And we could do this a few ways, but we'll wait a second. We'll wait to make sure node exporter's on over here, and then we'll run it, and then we'll have all the nodes configured right there. And then we can start thinking about the monitoring we want to use for them, because we got a lot of monitoring we can do in our environment. But we got to scrape next, so we'll have all the configs for scraping set up. When this all comes back good, we're good. When nothing's red on this page, then we're good. There we go. Nothing's red. All right. So now the data are being presented up from the nodes. Prometheus has to scrape them. Once Prometheus scrapes them back into his little time series database, then Grafana can pull that data out and use it. And we can start to build, like, and as we scrape, we can define the scrape nodes as either their individual nodes, like Auto, Rocky, and Hammer. Oh, excuse me. I can either define them as that, or I can just define them as lab stuff. Ekshunya said, how does the Kanban board work? All right, so this is, if you want the documentation for this, again, that's busted, but their Kanban board in general is up. Yeah, it's just these guys. I can link it to you. It's right here. Anybody that needs that. There's their official website, bug try. When's the last time they've done any bug work? Let's see if they're still working on this. So they're still working on stuff 2 days ago. So yeah, look, they're still working on this. It's got 145 issues with 3,570 closed. Let's go look at just the regular repo. How's the repo doing? They're only doing fixes for now, but that's fine. Community's working on it, so that's interesting. Ekshunya, you asked how am I doing this? Like, the storyboard is just as things come up. Like, as we do our Sunday night patching, or as we get ready for it, I just add things up here. Things go into the backlog, we discuss them. I would like to eventually get people who are interested in working on this stuff and doing lab operations and stuff to help me operationalize some of the work and stuff. So that would be a good thing to do eventually, Ekshunya. But there's no, I mean, this is just me spitballing it and kind of working on the lab. I mean, you gotta remember, a lot of stuff I do in the home lab is just me kind of being the manager and the project manager and the engineer and the admin and everything. So I'm just kind of hanging out. I'm not doing any programmatic stuff right now with it, although I think it would be nice if we could get the like, I can put the automation course to pull information out of here for fun. I think that would be a fun little one. We can even use one of the other boards, because I have other boards where we can hit those other boards and go, hey, has Scott been working on his home projects or not, right? Like, I think that would be a funny one to go hit, right? But yeah, this is just our ProLUG lab operations one. So that's all this is, Ekshunya. Nothing special. Not doing anything too crazy. Just moving data around in the network. All right, so let's come over here. Go to our Prometheus box. And let's just grab... So this is a way we can do this. Let's try doing this first. So we're gonna grab this, and let's vi lab.json in here, And let's go ahead and just throw this in here like this. And let's call this job is node, team is going to be lab, and we can add, so we can have our own, other things, and we can say purpose is could be purpose could be admin, right? And then I can say YYP, and his label is going to be, he's going to be 51. Not his label, sorry. 52. His IP, 53. 54. 55. We start Prometheus. Get his IP, which is 193. Nope. Does he see right now? Just hit up. Team info, team dungeon, team XP. Sees all those. I might have. Oh, damn it. I might have to. Hold on. I want to have to pull all of those. All right. See what a node example might look like for this. Nope. Scrape configs. Yep, that's all fine, but we need scrape configs. We got all that. But that's not how we're scraping. We're getting everything in here with JSON. JSON. Okay, so that's being it is being parsed right. It's definitely seeing that. Oh, hold on. Oh, no, hold on. These things have, I didn't set the firewall. Oh, just for fun, we're gonna do stop. No sleep. Just for now. I have to put that into the config. So let's get rid of it real quick. This will immediately read those. Should. Might be in the next scrape, but let's get rid of that. Let's come over here, and in my con board, I'm going to say plan monitoring, fix node exporter. So next node exporter is work in progress, and we need to add to it. Let's go add a note. Prometheus can't scrape it until until we fix that. All right, let's execute that, and still not seeing it. Hold on a second, damn it. JSON is 444 or 644 should be readable by the Prometheus user. There's nothing stopping that. Everything in here should be owned by Prometheus, but just for fun. He sees the metrics. Those are all there. That's been... I wonder if there's some kind of... like back... I wonder if there's some kind of back off timer or something. I don't see him yet. That was not intentional. What happened there? You can see all the way across. So the only thing else that could be wrong is something in... Here's what we're going to do for a test. We are going to take this lab JSON, copy it to lab JSON ridge, right? Maybe I just have an error right here. Might be a parsing error. 100, 192, 168, 200. I got nothing else wrong with that file. Shouldn't be any parse errors. Looks like that's all working. That's all working. Wait. Something changed. There he is. Okay. So now, so if he's there and he's up, what's wrong with, do I need to add the lines here? I think, for simplicity's sake, I should add them, make this a little wider so it's readable. But they can be right here. I think I can get away with this because it's still well-formed JSON. Let me grab them. Well, I really need that to that, and then we'll have to clean up the rest. All right. It's gonna be messy for a second here, but all of them need that removed, that removed, that removed. It's all bad JSON all the way down. I'm just kidding. We're gonna get this fixed. We're gonna turn this thing around. You guys don't know that reference, that's fine. It's hilarious though. Comma. Yep. That's fine. I think that is a parsable. I think that will be readable. Okay, so the one is still there. This thing must take some time for the front end to like go back and requery or something. This one should be joined by all of his buddies. Or he should go away. Either one of those would be acceptable. Sitting here like he is not acceptable. Because that one can't exist by himself anymore. Unless this thing isn't refreshing. Still just the one. It must just be whenever it's written back. I mean, how often's the scrape? Did I slow the scrape down too much? I thought the scrape was every 15 seconds by default. Oh, it's 15 seconds. Default is every 1 minute, but I have it set to every 15 seconds, so. But maybe I'm doing faster stuff than I thought I was. Nope. There's our one node. That should be good. Oh shoot, I might have that one. No. Oh, yeah, I might have that one. Yeah, that might be erroring. Yeah. Guess I could put all the targets in one and just leave the labels the same. It's another way to do it. Nothing. Yeah, I'm gonna have to play with this. I definitely have that on. I think I need to have the labels. Because let's just okay, that all loaded. Yeah, that's my bad. That's my problem right there. I just while I thought I knew JSON better than I did, I don't. Oops, shift dollar I, comma, 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 and then that'll be 3, 4, 5. Done. That's right. But let's take this real quick and just grab these guys. So we'll say Y4Y, and we'll say P, and we will make, instead of admin, we will make them hammer, right, for the purpose, hammer. Or actually, I think technically security is their purpose. And this guy, all the targets are going to be the hammer nodes, which are 151. And that'll be 4, 3, 2, 1. And then for here, we can say Y5Y P, and these will be auto. 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 Autos are 221. Prometheus will now have, there's all the admin ones. Execute. Seems like there's a little bit of a timing thing. And security auto targets. Oh, well, that would help. Can't be dumb. Don't need one on the last one. Oh, we do need one here though. There we go. No, those all look good. Takes a second. Oh, there. There's security, auto, admin. So all that's flowing through, and then now if I started to do like in my oh shit, I just want my what? I'll log back into everything. Go check our wrong one. Let's filter by all the Prometheus. No, they don't all have Prometheus tags, but it should be. No, that's the wrong one. Not that one. I swear I just had this one up the other day. Okay, so this one now presumably could go via lab teams, and it would see all of these different lab environment servers, and we should be able to then within that say, all right, I just want all the lab nodes, but even for now it would just go against the main nodes, and the teams could be lab, yep, the instance hosts go against any one host if we wanted. Job can be the node, and then the team should be that. We can actually map one more variable if we wanted to. Also, we don't have instances. We don't have information for the whole last hour on all these, so it's gonna take a little while to populate that. So that makes sense, right? Clear as mud. All right. All right, I think that's good enough for now. That's the kind of stuff we would want to automate. We wouldn't want to one-off this stuff. We want to automate it so that when we add nodes, they automatically get added over there. And that's part of our pipeline eventually, right? We only have to get it to work the one time, and then once we know the format and once we know how that looks, then we would send them over there. So, all right, well, I guess we'll call this a day. We don't have anybody talking, so I guess it's just me here talking to myself. Keep looking at the events in Discord. That tends to be where we're working on stuff from. I do have I have one new college class next quarter that I haven't taught before, so there's a little more prep time in it. And I'll be around in general. Yeah, Enzo Bear, I appreciate you guys coming. Let me go to my end of stream. Yeah, but if you guys are looking for getting into this stuff and doing this stuff professionally, that's kind of what we do. We just hang out and work on this stuff. So All right, I will see some of you guys later, and yeah, watch for me down in the Discord. That's mostly where we